Hello, this is Andrew from Trend Following Mentor. This is Saturday, January 25th, and I thought to do this short video regarding what transpired last week in the stock market. And we had very interesting times. And first of all, I want to say I'm not a bear, nor am I a bull, but I'm cognizant of what's transpiring in the markets, and I'm looking at the markets from a very technical standpoint, as well as looking at very other issues that are surrounding us. And where we are right now is the S&P 500 took out the 50-period exponential moving average. That in itself isn't overly positive. Considering we've had two negative days, one back-to-back, I mean, it doesn't mean we're going to go into a bear market. But on the other context, what I've been speaking about in many of my videos was the number of distribution days. And even more bothersome is the clustering of distribution days, which we've had last week and the week prior. When we have a clustering of distribution days, when we have more than 7 of them, which we have, their count is on the NASDAQ and the S&P, historically, it's signaled that the markets are exceptionally weak. Considering the fact also of the extreme bullishness, include the fact that you have extreme margin debt, include the fact that you had divergences on the indices, MAC divergences and momentum divergences, the picture isn't looking overly, let's say, positive. And the fact is you want to be in the stock market pretty much contrarily when everyone hates it. The biggest money to be made in the stock market is at the beginning of a correction or the coming out of a bear market. And there are very simple tools in order to understand where we're at. And putting things into context, where we're really at. It isn't that, like so many people, they don't really know what's going on around them. It's shocking. They're thinking football, they're thinking Justin Bieber. But if you look at what's happening in the world and you read, it's very bothersome again. And again, I'm not being bearish. I'm looking at the situation in China. I'm looking at where the shadow banking in China, where there's, I don't know if it's billions or trillions of dollars in the shadow banking that are basically a fraud. They're a Madoff. And there's banks that are ready to fall in China. That leads to a story I read on the BBC website about HSBC, where they're limiting cash withdrawals. Large cash withdrawals, to be quite, blunt. But the fact is, that's your money. You should be able to pull out whatever you want. That's bothersome. Look at what's happening in Argentina. The peso is being devalued. Look at the civil unrest that's happening in the Ukraine. Look at the civil unrest in Turkey, Thailand, and the values of their currency. The Turkish lira is hitting, I'm not sure how many year low it is, or the Argentine peso is hitting, if it's extreme lows. Those are bothersome issues. And the other thing is, is all the saber rattling between China and Japan. I mean, we almost forget what really world wars are, God forbid. I mean, it's not that we just think about, the stock market and talking about Japan, that, what happened. And I have to be honest, I was in the Nikkei trade. It was trending beautifully for a very long time. I was in that trade for a very long time. I got taken out on Friday. And it was one of the worst, actually biggest drops that they had in 7 months. And I think I was in that trade for going back 7 months. I mean, going back to the summer. And that goes even to the idea of the bonds. That it's like the herd mentality again. Everyone thought interest rates are going up and there's going to be deflation. I mean, whatever. Everyone's talking deflation. But you know what? Look at the price of milk. Look at the price of beef. There was a scary article that I read about a 61-year low in cattle. And in my trading, for managed accounts, I trade live cattle and feeder cattle. And I don't like seeing articles like that because that means possibly the trend is over. But a 61-year low in supply of beef, it's kind of, again, I'll use the word bothersome. Again, my idea is not to be a bear, not to be a bull, and none of this is any investment advice for anyone in particular. It's how I see what's happening in the markets. Again, I have a website called trendfollowingmentor.com in which I teach how to be a trend follower. I also teach the psychology. I do one-on-one mentoring as far as algorithmic system building, mechanical system building, as well as the psychology trading. And I also have my money management firm. But again, really my point is to have a trading plan. You don't want to be a bear. You don't want to be a bull. You want to listen to what the market's telling you. And what it's telling me right now is it's basically this uptrend is in question. It's not a bear market. It's nothing to get freaked out about so quickly, but it's time to make sure that you're following a plan. Again, this is Andrew from Trend Following Mentor. And if there's any way I can help you, I'm available. Actually, I have a couple hours on Friday of next week that are set aside for actually one-on-one consultations if you need one-on-one consultations. And any way to help you. Thank you very much.